Hello there. This is Jeremy here, and today I'm going to be reacting and rewatching my completion of the Pantheon of Hallownest, which, as of the day this is hopefully uploaded, I did an entire 5 years ago, July 25th, 2019. So I am completely freeballing this. I do not have a script or a plan or anything. I just felt like doing this, so here we are. So, for a little context, I wanted to just get the run started because it is pretty long, as you can see. But this is Hollow Knight, my second favorite game of all time, I would say. I go back and forth on that sometimes, but that's probably what it is, I think. And this is the final challenge of it. The Pantheon of Hallownest is a boss rush through almost every single boss in the game. It's 42 out of the, I think, 46. And yeah, it's pretty hard. At the time, 5 years ago, this was like the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life, probably. So, yeah. Done some cooler stuff since then, but I don't know, I thought it would be interesting to like look it back on this, because I did record it, though it was long before I ever like uploaded anything to YouTube or like anything else like that, so uploaded it to YouTube for this just so I can like skip around a bit easier, and I don't like the interface of my like file video player as much. So the way this works is basically at first you fight the set of 10 bosses, and what I'm trying to say in a bad way is you fight a certain amount of bosses and then get a bench, get a checkpoint. I'm doing really badly at this first part, but it also does not matter at all, because these bosses at the start are just really easy. So I'm very much just kind of playing aggressive and barely even paying attention, because I don't really need to pay attention. So, a little funny, like, how much damage I'm taking. So, I have not ever, in the 5 years, I don't think I've ever fully rewatched this. I might have, like, looked at, like, the final fight or something a couple times, but I mostly, like, haven't looked at this, so I don't actually remember much about how this exact run goes. So I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I just kind of didn't for no reason until now. I actually have like a fun reason of the 5-year anniversary. We love Massive Moss Charger. The boss, you literally don't even have to like move to beat. Of course it gives me the 2 jumps there, but you can also just stand still and swing the nail. I could have just damage tanked the 2 jumps if I felt like just not moving to flex, but I didn't. So, worth noting if you have not reached the Pantheon of Hallownest before, all the bosses are fought in their Ascended arenas, because there's the place called the Hall of Gods where you can fight every god individually on a few difficulties, and the Ascended mode does double damage and sometimes has some arena changes, and also has increased health. The Pantheon of Hallownest only includes the arena changes. They don't have extra health or double damage, thank fucking god, it's hard enough. But yeah, so normally fights like Gorb have like a full floor, but because of Ascended version, you only have these pillars to work with. Not that it matters all that much, but Gorb can be a little sneaky. Gorb can hit you for sure. Though I don't know if you can really die to him. I think that's most of the important context. We're just kind of gonna be walking through. I'm playing this like so much like safer than I really need to. Was I just scared of Gorb at this time for some reason? Huh. I've played so many of these other bosses like balls to the wall. I guess I also might have wanted to have Soul for diving Dung Defender right away. Also worth noting, what I did there is I spammed my inventory button as he was screaming, and that is technically a major glitch, actually, by, like, the speedrunner rules, so that's a little funny, but it basically just lets me keep control through some of their screams. It matters so little. I get, like, a couple extra hits in. Like, it doesn't really matter. It just sometimes saves me a little bit of time. And also, funny enough, I miss almost all of them in this run. That's one thing I do remember is, like, I think I might only actually successfully get that one, like, inventory scream skip. I don't remember. I feel like I missed most of the other ones, so that's a little funny. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the TSO fake out. I honestly have no idea what the, like, requirements for TSO to show up there is. I assume you probably have to have, like, done his questline and, like, seen his body in the base game, but it might just be random if sometimes he pops up there or not. P5, it is very funny, though. People's, like, reactions the first time they see it are awesome. Always love those. But, yeah. This is boss number 10. The Pantheon, it does kind of follow. There's a pretty increasing difficulty curve, but there are a couple spikes here. Like, the first 9 were all early game bosses that are pretty trivial. Oro and Motto are a little harder, but they're not that hard. But, I mean, definitely a step up from the first 9 before. Can just stand in the middle and, like, I feel like normally the play is a spam Shriek, but I guess a D-Dark does something too. Huh. I get to, like, rediscover my own strategies, which is a little funny. But yeah. So it's not too bad, because Oro does have less health than Motto, so you don't even have to deal with both of them for all that long. And as you can see, I'm basically just damage tanking right here, because I am, in a second here, we do get to have our first bench and hot spring checkpoint, so this first one comes after 10, but after this they come every 5 bosses, so you can change your charms and fully recover your health and soul for going into the next ones. And one last very, very important thing to mention is the 4 lifeblood I got there. If you do bindings on the first 4 Pantheons, you can unlock the lifeblood cocoons at every bench. And it is extremely helpful. It might not intuitively seem like it would help that much to just have, like, 3 or 4 extra hits you can take, but it ends up making quite a big difference. Wow, I really just only get 1 hit on, like, all the misstreaks. That's really funny. Not exactly a good example of it being helpful in this fight. I'm doing this horribly, but in a lot of cases, you'd be surprised at how important that extra lifeblood is, because even just taking, like, 2 or 3 hits that you don't have to heal, meaning you can use 2 or 3 more spells and kill the boss faster. So if you know how to use spells, which if you're doing Pantheon 5, you really should, because spells are extremely powerful, so it's really the opportunity to use more spells and end fights faster that, like, makes the lifeblood so helpful, so if you haven't had success doing Pantheon 5, it's very much worth it to do some bindings to get the lifeblood. I did like 12 total bindings. You can unlock either 3, 4, or 5 lifeblood hearts per bench, depending on how many bindings you did. I did 12 out of the 16 possible, so I didn't. 5 is overkill, and, like, Pantheon 4 bindings are hard, so I didn't do that, but I did all of them on the first 3, so yeah. I haven't really had anything to say about the bosses, because, I mean, as I mentioned, a lot of these are the early game encounters. A whole lot of them I can kind of just smack and, like, jump over their basic attacks. Oblobbles here are a little funny. Because, you know, bullet hell and they move around randomly. These guys can be pretty annoying, but they're not, like, that hard. You can definitely tell I'm being a little more careful against these than some of the other bosses, but they're not, like, anything crazy. And now we get my favorite boss in the game, probably, like, top 3 best video game bosses, like, ever. Sisters of Battle is so good. This fight is so much fun. Especially because of how they fake you out with... Oh, wow, I love getting hit there. They fake you out with the first phase. Because in the normal Mantis Lords, you then just get 2. But now you get all 3 of them on you, and this fight is so much fun. It's, like, they come at you so fast, but, like, there's also distinct patterns to it, such as when you get 2 on the wall, a third will always do a dive attack. It's not gonna it's never gonna, like, do a sweep along the floor, so there's enough things you can, like, recognize and learn to exploit, and it just feels so cool to just weave all around them and smacking them. I could fanboy over this fight for so long, but it's not gonna last too much longer. Funny. I don't know. I lost my train of thought there, but yeah. Awesome boss. Love this fight so much. It can kind of be hard, but it's not like that hard. And also, it's low-key might be that like this fight is so fun. I like play it so much. So I was pretty good at it. Wasn't really in any danger there. Guess probably the only other thing to mention is the charm loadout I'm using. I haven't exactly double checked, I might even get this wrong, but I'm pretty certain I'm definitely using Shaman Stone and Unbreakable Strength, because those are the 2 best charms in the game, basically. And I'm using Quick Slash, and I think Unbreakable Heart, let me count. Yeah, 10, 11. So I am using Fragile Heart too. One thing you may or may not know if you haven't played the game too much, fragile charms do not break in Godhome. So even though they're fragile and break if you die, deaths in Godhome aren't treated as proper deaths. You don't lose a shade, and the fragile charms don't break. So they are very good. I did so happen to actually have Unbreakable Strength in this file, because I used that for some other things. It was actually kind of an important part of how I beat Coliseum 3, but that's not super relevant to this. But yeah, I only had the Fragile Heart, but it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't actually break. So yeah. Broken Vessel. It's easy. There are galleons here too. So the game does have like its 4 original Pantheons, and Pantheon 5 roughly follows like the same boss order, but there are some exceptions. The Galleon is like the first big one, because I think a boss that's normally here in Pantheon 2 is like placed later instead. Which one is it even? I don't actually remember off the top of my head. But yeah, here's Shio. This would be boss number 20. So we're still not even halfway in the number of bosses, and definitely not halfway in the actual runtime of the attempt. So Shio's pretty fun. He's not that hard, especially because he just doesn't actually have that much health, so I'd probably take a bit of damage here, but it's just not really that hard. Really, one of the problems with this Pantheon, certainly a reason why a lot of people don't like it or think it's good or well designed, is just how long it takes. Like, this win is, I'm sure there's a bit of like the ending and stuff, so, but my run's about 40 minutes long, and I think that's like faster than average for like your first clear of it at least, so it takes so long, it can be really exhausting. Honestly, I'm pretty sure I... I'm pretty sure I only ever did, like, one attempt per day, because I just got tired from how intense it was. Especially because the first 35 bosses are truthfully pretty trivial, so you'd basically always make it to near the end of the thing. And yeah, it can be quite tiring. Hive Knight Dispatch. The bosses are getting harder, but I mean, they're still not that hard, because to even get to this point, you've already had to, like, beat the other Pantheons, and you've already fought all these bosses so many times. And especially if you're like me and like to over-practice things, I did every single boss in the Hall of Gods on Ascended before I, like, really tried this all that seriously, so I know these fights like the back of my hand, and they're not much struggle. You can see me there trying and failing the inventory early control thing. Collector is funny because he's like probably literally the easiest boss in the entire game if you can one-shot the minions with the nail, but he very suddenly becomes like the hardest boss in the game, like with bindings or low equipment, and if you can't one-shot all the ads, you can see with fragile strength, I can just kill all of them instantly, and this fight is incredibly trivial, but it's like one of the hardest parts of like the all bindings run. So, funny how fights like that can work. Great use of that mailer just walking into the boss. Good triple hit. Thing you might not know about Shade Soul is it can hit enemies multiple times if they get knocked back or are just already moving away, so you've been seeing me get a whole bunch of double hits on this thing. It's especially easy with like big things and things that move away. You'll definitely see me doing it quite a lot, because Fireball does like 40 damage with Shaman Stone, which is decent, but if you can get triple hits, it can do up to like 80 or 120 on a triple hit, so it can be a lot of damage, and it comes out quite quickly, so it's very much worth it and strong. Grim, probably one of the longer fights. I'm almost surprised I didn't just like stand under him and like spam Abyss Freak a bit more than that. Definitely could. Yeah, this is the first fight that like takes a little while, because he does just have a lot of health. Seeing me firing off some spells to speed it up a little bit, and also just walking into his fireballs, because I guess that's the mood I was in. But I guess that does also kind of say something about how, like, I'm not even paying all that much attention in this first part of this run. But yeah, Grim can be a little hard to hit. It's not hard, but it can take a little while. Gotten through all these pretty cleanly. Here's our next bench. You can see me waiting in the hot spring to have full soul, because I mean there's no reason not to do that. You do want to kind of like front load as much as you can to like try and save your lifeblood. If you're like insanely fracked at the game, you can like you can just kind of like no-hit a bunch of bosses and literally just stack the lifeblood and end up with like 40 health for the final boss if you feel like it, but that's quite a ways beyond my skill level, at least at the time I did this. Watcher Knights happen here. Another boss is like, this is like quite a hard fight, like your first time in the early game, but with end game build and damage and stuff, they're just not really that difficult anymore since their individual HP is pretty low. I did lose all my lifeblood pretty quick, but like I'm never really gonna feel in any danger at this part. Cause this boss is just not that hard anymore. Going for more double hits. D-Dark is strong, really. If you don't already know this, spells are just so powerful. Even with, like, yes, Nail, Unbreakable Strength, Quick Slash, like, is powerful, but spells are still so strong. Especially because they can keep you safe with D-Dark, they can hit things farther away, and hit things while things are armored, which your Nail can't do, so... That's why, like, Unbreakable Strength and Shaman Stone together are just so important to this, because it just makes it just takes so much less time than it could. Like, if I'd been using, like, a build that didn't involve those charms, god, this probably would have taken, like, 10-20 minutes longer. Just killing these things faster is so nice. Yeah, really great job there. This fight can be weird, because, I mean, you have to just wait for the things. I believe, I might be wrong on this, but I think the Umas also do, like, 100 damage to Umu, so, like, it's not even really possible for this to take more than, like, 3 cycles, I think, because even if you didn't even hit him, I think just the Uma explosions would do enough damage, so at least that fight doesn't last long. Second unique fight, Winged Nosk, I mean Vengefly King version 2, because, yeah. This fight isn't very good, but I mean, it exists. I don't have much to say about it. It can be hard to see the, like, 2 acid spit attacks. The one from the sky and the one he does while still on screen, so... Don't love this fight that much, but... It's a cute idea. It is a funny fake out the first time. I've actually lost some HP and don't have any soul here. This is almost like scary. It's not really, but do have to actually pay attention. It takes longer than I remembered. I feel like I remember him usually dying faster than this. Might just be taking a bit slower because I have taken some damage. But there it is. Playing around with the Hornet Head for a second. Nail Sage Sly. Also not that bad. This is really just... He'll punish you pretty hard if you are overly aggressive or anything, but play it safe and only go for a hit or 2 at a time. This fight is not hard to deal with. Do be careful, because the Great Slash does do double damage, fun fact. But yeah, play this a little more carefully and it's not hard. Running out of things to say, so I might honestly just skip ahead a bit. Yeah. Second phase, don't go for 3 heals, you only have time for 2. This fight's not that bad. This phase has very low health, so can even damage tank a little bit. Goes all over the place, but it's still pretty quick. And that's that. And there's also the funny fake out, because that's actually only boss 34, and Hornet is after. Which I'm pretty sure I managed to, like, forget for so long on so many of my, like, earlier attempts of this. Because with all the other ones, the, like, special new God Home boss is at, like, the end of their set of 10, but for this one they mixed it up just to troll us, I guess. I don't really know what other reason there might be. I definitely had plenty of attempts where I just forgot that there was still Hornet. This fight's not that hard either. Still won't be many hard fights until about 6 more bosses from now. But yeah, I can definitely see that went a little worse for me, but it's not like I wasn't really ever in danger or anything. Probably might just be stopping to take a drink of water or take a breath or something here. Me in 2019 especially did not have nerve control, like, probably at all. Wow, good job me, just getting jumped on. Yeah. Enraged Guardian is incredibly easy, but he does do double damage, so it's a little punishing if you do manage to mess up. All the damage I've taken in this segment is just getting jumped on with that. This is another fight that, like, definitely used to be hard for me. I was definitely one of the people that just religiously wore Defender's Crest so I didn't have to deal with the balloons. I'm pretty sure even on, like, my first clear of Pantheon 4, I used Defender's Crest for the first 5 bosses just because of Lost Skin. But I mean, eventually after enough practice, like, I don't know, you just learn to attack them, and, like, sometimes you can just take them all out with spells while hitting the boss, and it's not really something I'd struggled with anymore. So, boss is pretty fun. It's a neat improvement check. No Eyes sucks. This fight is annoying. It's not that hard, but because of all the spikes, you can sometimes basically take double damage because you get hit by a spirit into a spike. And I believe it's just a random chance every time you hit her, so she sometimes might just teleport every single time you hit her, and sometimes she just lets you hit her like 8 times for free. So, this fight's very RNG based, so it can be pretty annoying. She also spawns more and more spirits as her health gets lower, so I could kind of tell she was nearly dead and trying to rush her down a bit. Traitor Lord! This boss is also trivial, like, I feel like some people call this fight hard, but, like, you just need to realize that he basically attacks exactly in time with your Shade Dash recharge, so anytime he does anything, you can just Shade Dash through it. And I feel like as soon as I, like, realized that, this fight became, like, literally one of the easiest in the game. Despite the double damage and everything. Yep, missed that scream skip, too. It's a little too bad you can't, like, D-Dark White Defender out of the ground. This fight is also pretty long because he's just tanky. You can do the funny just juggling him with your nail, but I never really learned how to do it or got good at it. Would've been cool if I'd done a strat like that. Main thing I, like, do here is I got damage there. I think usually I just try to, like, Abyss Shriek as he was coming out for good damage. Or just, like, a nail hit up and down. I'm dodging this badly. Do I even, like, try to do it? Yeah. Not really. I didn't really know how to do the juggling strat. And he's dead. I actually got a little low there, but not even worried for a second. So now, I'm gonna do an interesting thing, and I'm gonna actually change my charms. I just swapped Quick Slash for Mark of Pride, because really the first 35 bosses are just easy, and I just want to get through them faster with Quick Slash, but now's the part where this actually gets difficult, and I value the range of Mark of Pride to stay a little safer for these last 7 bosses. Because here's the reason this Pantheon is actually difficult, because nothing before this is actually all that hard, let's be real. Soul Tyrant isn't that hard generally, but he's still fast and can take a while to kill, so it's not a hard fight to win, but it is kind of a hard fight to, like, do damageless, and that's really what you want, because you want to be saving your lifeblood for the next boss. Because you want to have as much resources as you can going into Markoth. So, this fight is like it's a bit harder in this context than he normally is. Because he is just fast and takes a while to kill, so pretty likely to make at least a mistake or two over the course of the fight. I'm not doing amazingly here, but I'm pretty sure I still end up with like a lifeblood or two by the end. Yeah, some of these teleporting bosses can take a while. But yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be using like nail only for this final phase. Wow, okay, I do lose all my lifeblood, that's unfortunate. I thought I kept one. Yeah, I'm probably gonna be using... Okay, never mind. I was about to say I'm probably going to be using nail only here so I can have as much soul as possible going into Markoth, but I'm completely wrong. I just spam spells. It's probably not what I would recommend today, because now we have maybe the worst boss in the game. Markoth with no floor is a bitch. I hate this guy, and I think everybody ever who has attempted Pantheon 5 hates this guy. My strategy is very much just hyper-aggressive, smack him with the nail a whole lot. And then my normal strategy is to, like, get under him and Abyss Shriek. But in this case, I didn't and had to, like, waste a lot more soul. I want to pause and talk about that, because, like, that's one of the things I still... Even 5 years later, I still, like, remember how that Markoth fight went, even without beating it, because it was just such a standout moment of such annoyance in the whole run. And yeah, so, it didn't go ideally, because I had to use a lot more soul spamming Shade Soul to just get him down fast, rather than using Abyss Shriek, which would have saved me with a bit more for GPZ right here. But yeah. Now we have Invincible, Fearless, Sensual, Mysterious, Enchanting, Vigorous, Diligent, Overwhelming, Gorgeous, Passionate, Terrifying, Beautiful, Powerful, Grey Prince Zote. I have no idea why I know all his names in order, but for some reason I do, so there's your fun fact. This fight sucks. Only barely relevant. I guess I can keep playing, but I remember having such a weird time, because I feel like everyone started calling this boss so hard only after Godhome released. Like, I remember seeing some, like, boss rankings and stuff, and Grey Prince Zote was always in, like, the bottom half in, like, any video like that I watched before Godmaster came out, but then after, he was, like, suddenly considered, like, a top 5 hardest boss for some reason. I still maintain that this boss is not hard to beat under normal circumstances. The problem is that in Pantheon 5, you very well might be walking in with like 3 health after getting beaten down by Markoth. And this boss is very chaotic, and he is very likely to hit you 2 or 3 times, so he can be really scary if you like have very little health, but if you have like full health and soul, I still think this boss is quite easy. But he is very scary in the context of the Pantheon, just because he's placed right after Markoth. And now we have Failed Champion. This is a one-phase boss fight, really. This boss is also, like, not actually hard, but he's scary because he's right after Markoth and Zote. Because he does do double damage, and it is very, very possible that you only have 2 or 3 health, and he might just straight up one-shot you in the opening phase, if you had a rough time with the previous fights. So I don't even know this here, but you can actually, if you pogo his back while while he's lying on the ground like that, you can reset his timer and you can just dream nail him infinitely. So this guy is basically a secret. Once you get through the first phase, this fight is just secretly a hot spring, and you can get to full health and soul. I didn't even know about that trick at the time, and I mean, this still wasn't that bad. Yeah. Yeah. And on the last one, he just stays on the ground forever anyway, so I don't even get, like, full soul out of this. I mean, I was still pretty close, but... And now we're on to the final three, starting with Nightmare King Grim. Very sad that you don't get to listen to his real music in the Pantheon. But yeah. This fight, I can't call it easy. Calling it easy would be a blatant lie. It is a very hard fight, but at the same time it's an incredibly consistent and fair fight. So, like, even though it is difficult, he is fast, he's got a lot of health, double damage. Like, I can't call him easy, but I also don't think I ever lost to him in the Pantheon. He's just incredibly fair, and if you practice him well, you can get incredibly consistent at him. As a fun little anecdote, one time, I definitely should just keep it playing, his fight is so long anyway. For a fun little anecdote, I did one time, just after not playing Hollow Knight for a while, I just did a like 100% in one sitting kind of challenge thing. And I'm pretty sure I literally did NKG without ever taking damage on my first try, even though I had not fought him in like a year, so that should give you an idea of how consistent and fair I was saying this fight is. So yeah, you just have some responses planned out, and I mean, as long as you can react to his stuff, which you should be able to if you're doing Pantheon 5. It can again be scary, but since you should have full health and soul coming in from failed champion, it's a pretty manageable fight. Also, let's see. I'm pretty sure I just sit here for a while because I, like, got up to go to the washroom or something, or refill my water or something like that. Wasn't as long as I thought. I might have just been taking a drink of water or calming my nerves a bit. But now we're on to the last two. Starting with good old Pure Vessel. I think this is a pretty common choice for, like, best boss in the game. I don't quite agree, but I mean, he's still good, obviously. He's like NKG. There's a bit of a trade-off, because he's a little more erratic and faster, but he also does, you know, stay in existence and let you hit him more, so I definitely think this is a harder fight than NKG, but I've seen some others disagree. Either way, it's, you know, still like second hardest boss in the game, right near the end. This fight's going pretty smoothly. Lost the lifeblood, but that's fine. He's really spamming the focus attack, huh? Is he gonna do the tendrils? There it is. I don't use that many spells in this fight. There's sure definitely room for using more, but I don't know, I was just most used to going with the nail. You'll also see, I kind of stop using spells near the end because if you don't know, you get healed to full when transitioning into the final boss, so it's most important to have full soul, even more than having health, because you already get all your health, so don't waste your soul healing here, because you get full health anyway. And now we get to, by far, the hardest boss in the entire game, at the end of this 40-minute gauntlet of bosses. This is the Absolute Radiance. also known by multiple nicknames, such as Absolute Bullshit. I think Absolute Fuckery was my favorite. You can do all kinds of fun things with its name. Because this boss fight is hard as shit, and it's also very fast, and has the potential to feel very unfair. It's not really, but there's plenty of RNG in her attacks and stuff. And where she goes, some fights she just like stays right under you the whole time. Sometimes she's always on top of the spikes, making it way harder to hit her. Sometimes she spams the sword walls, and sometimes she spams like the beams, which are so much easier to dodge. So this fight could be pretty RNG, and it's pretty frustrating. I do not like this fight. Some people still find this boss fun. I don't. I always kind of hated this thing. So yeah, I have a pretty rough first phase here. Even though I haven't looked at this fight in 4 to 5 years, I still kind of remember how it goes because of how much of a big deal doing this challenge was to me at the time. So I know this 5 damage, 2 main hits, and 1 to the spikes. I know this is all the damage I take before platforms. And yeah, just using Nail because I want to make sure I have full soul, especially based on how much damage I've taken. You have time to heal 6 times here if you need to. I only need to heal 5, which is nice to save 1 bit of soul. It's a little... In the regular Radiance in the base game, she always spawns in, like, the center part, which is nice, but Absolute Radiance, it's random where she spawns, so... I usually go to the center anyway, but... yeah. I have quite an aggressive playstyle. This is really what you want, like, I am fully willing to, like, trade some hits here, because... you can just spam some Abyss Shrieks and D-Darks and Nail hits while she's right there in that spot, and this is really just what you want to see to end this phase as fast as you can. How the fuck did I dodge those? That was a little sloppy on my part, but yeah. Getting a beam, like, as that phase is starting is a little rough. Going up here... I believe I take 1 hit on this climb. My strat for this part was kind of... the beams get more accurate the closer you are up to her, so my strat was kind of at the lower part. I kind of just go up the platforms directly, but around here, when, like, that tuning sound gets, like, to its loudest, I'd start kind of, like, trying to fake the beams out to the side. And now we have final phase. I was never very good at... yeah. I was never very good at the, like, pogo strat, because the most common way to do this phase is to just pogo on her, and if the orbs go off the top of the screen, they won't come back, but I was never very good at that, so I didn't really do it here. 1 health here, definitely gonna be a photo finish. And I would like to rewind and focus in on this moment here. Right about here. That is the killing blow. But if you see that orb that was right there, to put yourself in my shoes, my nerves are shot after playing, like, the hardest bosses in the game, after doing a 40-minute boss rush. My nerves are shot, I am tired, I am scared of being this close on 1 HP. And I can tell you, in the moment, I had no idea if I had won or lost. I was so, like, hyped on adrenaline, I couldn't tell if that orb had killed me or if I killed the boss first. I can still remember to this day, like, the feeling and look on my face of, like, sitting back, not actually knowing if I won. And the relief on my... and the relief I felt when this screen popped up was something else. It's probably why it takes me so long, because I had to, like, catch my breath and pick up my controller again. Because I was so fucking scared that I lost, literally, like, in a double knockout. And I am definitely savoring every single smack of the absolute radiance here in this ending. And that is the Pantheon of Hallownest. As I mentioned earlier, I did this 5 years ago today, which is kind of wild, but time flies, I guess. It's kind of crazy. This was, like, the hardest thing I'd ever done back then. Not so true anymore, but this is still a challenge that's quite special and important to me, so it's really wild to think I did it this long ago already. 5 whole years is crazy. And yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say. I have no idea what I, like, talked about. I'm tired today. I just felt like recording this kind of thing. I did not have any script or anything, so hopefully it was entertaining or interesting. There's the achievement pop. The last one I needed. I'm pretty sure Embrace the Void. Let me check right now on Steam. Where is it? Where is Hollow Knight? But I want to actually see, like, because yeah, it's 4.4% of players have it now, but at the time that I did it, I'm pretty sure it was only like a 0.7% achievement rate or something like that, so I was pretty fucking hyped that I finished this. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. Whole bunch of me reminiscing, and possibly slightly too much of me calling bosses easy and stuff, I don't know. But, well, that'll be all from me today. Hope you enjoyed somehow. I don't really know what happened. I'm not really gonna edit this. It's just kind of going up like this, I think. So, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.